Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight.
There were some things going on in sports today that will make your brain fall out of your skull.
It's sports.
All around the clock, sports all the time.
That's the concept of the news.
Oh, that's never going to work.
How would you like to manage the Indians this year?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? This is a chance to manage in the big leagues.
Let me think it over, will you, Charlie? I got a guy on the other line about some white walls. I'll talk to you later.
As you know, Monty, Vaughn's been working on a couple of new pitches, the Eliminator and the Humiliator, to complement his fastball, the Terminator. I heard that. Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school has really paid off.
You want to settle old scores, you're on the wrong team. We move forward starting right now. We start becoming a team right now.
And now, the Sports Issue with Jason and Toivo.
Well, welcome to week 3 of the Sports Issue. I'm Jason Groth.
And I'm Toivo.
What an exciting week of football action we had once again last night. Some great games throughout the area.
Very fun last night. We had a great one in Deer River. We'll touch on that a little bit. Plus, there was some good volleyball scores from around the area as well.
Very exciting week there. You mentioned that. We'll have Greenway head coach Ray Tomlin Anderson in studios today to talk about their big game against Hibbing on Thursday night. Hannah Johnson, former Greenway standout and UMD standout, led her Blue Jackets into the Karen Tomlin Gymnasium, but it was an exciting three-game victory for Greenway as it went down to the wire all 3 games, and the atmosphere was something else.
Yeah, and what a great matchup that we have there. I mean, you know, two very good volleyball teams in the area have been over the course of history, and of course, Hibbing with the tradition that they have over there as well.
So that was a big victory for Greenway. We'll have them in to talk about that. Also in our second hour, we'll be joined by Deer River head coach Brent Shimmick to talk things over about their 2-0 start and a nice victory last night for them.
Big win in the Great Polar Alliance Red last night over the Mesabi East Giants. Was actually a really great game. No scoring in the second half, got to mention that, but what an exciting game. We'll touch on highlights and scores later.
That was just one of those games that you could tell, talking to you, it seemed like it was a quick-moving game last night for your team.
It was probably the fastest first quarter I've ever been involved in my 20 years of football. In a 12-minute quarter, real running time, it lasted 18 minutes.
Well, we'll take a quick look now at the volleyball scoreboard, some area games that happened on Thursday night. It was a busy night on Thursday. Esco earning a 3-0 victory over Silver Bay. Cromwell over Cook County by a score of 3-2. Little Fork Big Falls was victorious over Northland by a score of 3-0. Again, a lot of those 3-0 type scores that were going around the area the other night. And Cherry knocked off International Falls 3-1. Floodwood suffered a 3-2 defeat at the hands of Barnum. Mesabi East knocks off Lakeview Christian Academy 3-0. Ely continues a strong start to the year. They pick up a victory over Big Fork by a score of 3-1. It was Chisholm over Nashua-Keewatin by a score of 3-0. Kind of a slow start for Nashua-Keewatin. They're really struggling out of the gates. Hopefully things can get going for them. Cloquet knocks off Evelyn Gilbert 3-0. Ashland over Duluth Denfeld by a score of 3-0. McGregor over Two Harbors. Northeast Range knocks off Hill City by a score of 3-1. And there's some other scores around the area. Aiken over Onami by a score of 3-0.
Yeah, Bemidji was over Moorhead 3-0. LaPorte takes down North Home Kellier 3-0. Roseau and Warroad did battle. A little late night with the football game last night. So Roseau takes down Warroad by a score of 3-0. Thief River Falls over Foston 3-0. It was Isle over Ogilvie 3-0. East Grand Forks over Grand Forks Central. Big matchup there, big battle there. That was 3-0. East Grand Forks with the victory. Mountain Iron Buell falls to Northwoods by a score of 3-1. It was Bagley over Clearbrook Gondvik 3-0. Stephen Argyle over Red Lake County Central 3-0. Nevis over Pine River Bacchus 3-0. A lot of those 3-0 scores here. in the volleyball world this week.
And you may have noticed we ignored 2 scores on purpose because we're going to talk about them a little bit more here. Greenway, 3-0 victory over Hibbing again. We touched on that. Score was 25-22, 25-21, 25-23. A big night overall. They really spread the offense around. Siri Geiser, 16 digs, 12 kills, 2 ace serves. Summer McDonald had a nice night up front with 8 kills. Katrina Highlander had a strong night, 14 kills. Former Greenway, Jordan Ranta had 31 set assists, and Ashley Trombley had 11 digs. In that victory for Greenway, they moved to 3-0 and a good start to the year for them.
That's what a way to come right out of the gates, and with 3-0 victory over Hibbing, starting out the season 3-0. Greenway Raiders over there really got it going on.
Another big game that happened in the area last night on Thursday night. Grand Rapids defeated Hermantown 25-18, 25-23, and 25-23 in that game. Sydney Matz had 22 set assists, 2 ace serves, 6 kills, 10 digs. She had a busy night. Becca Morris, 8 kills, 13 digs. Anna York had 7 kills, 3 ace serves, 4 blocks. And Angela Guerreri up front had 7 kills. Maddie Coity had 20 digs. And we'll touch on that. The 2 local rivals will be squaring off, not Monday night, but the following Monday. Grand Rapids will travel to Greenway, and that is going to be just one outstanding, electric atmosphere. If the Greenway-Hibbing game was any indication what that place is going to be like, this place will be rocking that Monday night.
Oh, yeah, and, both teams, they, have a good rivalry going on there, and, congratulations to Grand Rapids with the big victory over Hermantown. That's always a great foe in that respect, and, got to congratulate Greenway as well, starting out hot this season.
And that's an outstanding start for them. Both teams, Grand Rapids, Greenway, are at 3-0. So they've gotten off to quick starts. And this Greenway team is now getting ready to start a tough stretch. They have Hermantown, Deer River, and also then Grand Rapids to wind things down there a little bit. But that's a tough schedule they face. They're also hosting a tournament. We'll talk to Ray Tomlin Anderson about that and much more in just a little bit. But an exciting time it is on the hardwood floor for volleyball.
Yeah, and if Greenway can come out of this next 3-game stretch at least with 2 victories, they're gonna be rolling this season, because those are legitimately 3 tough matches that they have, but 3 winnable matches definitely that they could come out with 3 victories as well.
And in soccer action for girls soccer, Grand Rapids suffers a tough 5-2 loss to their Hibbing Chisholm rivals over to the east. It was a 5-2 defeat. It was 2-2 after a half. 2 goals early for Hibbing Chisholm gave them the lead, but goals by Jackie Kellen and Shanna Hopkins just a minute apart made it 2-2 at the half, but then Hibbing pulled away. Matea Pogarels, Jenny Casey, and Allison Brandt tallied in the second half, made it 5-2. Emerald Sunday busy in goal, had 22 saves. Gabby Morano had 7 for Hibbing Chisholm in the loss for the Thunderhawks as they suffer a 5-2 defeat there.
And that's always kind of been a rivalry. Though both soccer programs kind of started at the same time. They used to be club teams, exhibition teams, and played quite a bit, and then eventually became actual high school sanctioned teams. So, great rivalry there, and, congratulations to Hibbing Chisholm on their victory.
Couple other scores from that night. Bemidji knocks off Crookston by a score of 8-1. Two Harbors defeats Evelyn Gilbert area by a score of 2-1. Hibbing Chisholm again, touch on that, 5-2 victory over Grand Rapids. Hermantown knocks off Cloquet Carleton, and it was Duluth Denfeld and Proctor. Both those games were identical 3-1 scores. Now to the boys soccer side on Thursday night. It was Proctor over Superior by a score of 1-0. Cloquet Esco Carleton. I'm still trying to figure out that whole Cloquet Esco Carleton thing. Esco's got their own girls team, but for boys they're all combined. It's one of those weird things over there. Cloquet Esco Carleton knocks off Hermantown by a score of 4-1. Evelyn Gilbert knocks off Two Harbors by a score of 4-0. Bemidji shuts down East Grand Forks 2-1, and it was Brainerd over Fergus Falls by a score of 2-0.
Great soccer going on in the Northland here. It's nice to see some of these teams make that transition from exhibition to high school sanction. And it's nice to see that a lot of these teams up north don't have to travel down to the cities to play anymore.
Yeah, still the Grand Rapids boys soccer team will do a lot of that traveling because they're trying to load up that schedule, get them ready to go, because it's going to be an interesting time for them. So they've been doing a lot of that traveling, facing a lot of those tough teams down in the cities. And that's kind of what you almost have to do now. You see more programs starting to grow up here. But to build and try to get to that next level, you got to make those longer trips, and that it ends up being costly.
Well, that's just it. And if you want to talk about tough schedules, there's a couple of Grand Rapids teams around here that definitely have some tough schedules in not only soccer but as well as football too.
Yeah, the Thunderhawks football team definitely finding out the Central Lakes is not really the dream. as they're running into some tough teams. You might as well head to the football scoreboard.
Let's go.
Well, Grand Rapids last night, tough 37 defeat at the hands of St. Cloud Tech. St. Cloud Tech, just a very nice balanced offense team, earning the victory. Brendan Paulson had a big game for St. Cloud Tech. He rushed for over 100-some yards in that contest. Jake Martig had a big game receiving, and here's one of his touchdowns.
Growski, pump fakes, now looks downfield. He's got a man open, pass is caught, and walking in the end zone for the touchdown, Jake Martig. He goes 35 yards on the score. It's 27-0.
That made it 27-0, but Grand Rapids rallied back, got a nice touchdown. Jackson Gessel showed off the arm.
First and 10, snap there. Gessel gets it, corrals it. Now Plants looks to the right side of the field. The pass is caught for a touchdown with the reception. Josh Chandler on the 27-yard pitch and catch, and the Thunderhawks are on the board.
That made it 28-7 at that point. Brennan Paulson would add another touchdown, which made it 35-7. That ended up being the final score last night. It was just one of those games. St. Cloud Tech really took advantage of that. Looking at that film, you see a lot of the film work, and it showed in that contest as they were quick off the edge. Jackson Gessel did not have much time to get ready in the pocket, as it was a big night for St. Cloud Tech, winning by a score of 35-7.
Yeah, and talking to the coaching staff after the game, it sounds like that's, Gessel didn't have any time, and there's some other miscues in the defense and the offense, and it's just one of those things that Grand Rapids is right there, right on the cusp of making that transition into being hopefully mistake free and figuring out some things and kind of testing the waters here, but they got a tough conference to do it in.
Well, you had a fun one last night. If you want to set up a couple of scores last night, as the mighty Giants suffered a tough loss to the Deer River Warriors.
That's right. The Deer River Warriors, they started out a little bit rough. The Giants went on I believe it was like an 18-19 play drive for 8 minutes in the first quarter and scored on 85 yards. Capped off by a nice touchdown run for the Giants. But then it was all Deer River in the second quarter, and it was nice to see because they really got the offense going. And of course, the last touchdown was the very nice 75-yard touchdown play that we'll
He's in the
touch on.
shotgun formation. Split backs, one to his right, one to his left. He takes a snap. He's looking to pass. He avoids the sack. Rolls out to his left. He's looking downfield. He has Eby wide open, and he catches it. He is going to score for the Warriors. What a play. 1 minute is all it took, and the Deer River Warriors take a big lead.
That seemed to be kind of the dagger last night, so to say, from Wayne Larrabee for that one, as the Warriors pick up the big victory.
Yeah, it was. It basically set the tone for the rest of the game. At that point in time, Aaron Drotz came in as quarterback on that last drive of the second quarter, and that was the second play of that drive. First play was a run, I believe, that Drotz called his own number on that, and then he avoided a big sack. I mean, he was swallowed up and was able to duck and avoid that sack. Got out to the left, and from what I heard up in the booth is that him and Ben Eby play a lot of catch, and that's all they did. And Eby had the wheels, turned on the jets, and he was gone.
Now we'll take a quick look at the area scoreboard. We'll hear a lot more about that game from Brent Chimick in our second hour. Make sure to tune in for that. Around 8:30, he'll be on. Again, at 7:30, we'll be joined by, shortly thereafter, we'll be joined by Greenway volleyball head coach Ray Tom Anderson. Quick look around the area scoreboard. The Sabi Academy suffered a 42-12 defeat at the hands of the Minnesota Academy for the Deaf yesterday afternoon. Mount Army Buell knocked off Northeast Range by a score of 48-8. It was Cambridge Isani all over Duluth East by a score of 46-12. Tough going for Duluth East so far in the Mississippi 8 Conference. Cromwell showing they're another strong team once again. They knock off Lake of the Woods by a score of 27-6. It was Fergus Falls all over Ricori by a score of 32-12. Other scores include Thief River Falls knocking out Pequot Lakes 26-12. It was Bram over Aiken in a battle 20-14 in Aiken. That had to be an exciting one to be at as the Bombers of Bram knock off the Gobblers. Cass Lake Bena edges Walker Hackensack Inkley 34-28. It was Perham all over East Grand Forks 47-0. Detroit Lakes all over Crookston, 40-6. Nice to see they didn't really run that one up. It was 40-6 late in the first half, so they didn't run it up any much more than what they did with a slow second half, obviously by a 40-6 score. St. Cloud Apollo knocks off Moorhead by a score of 27-20. That's Grand Rapids' opponent on Friday night down in Moorhead. Jason Merritt and I will be making that drive. We're looking forward to that drive for other reasons we touched on during the broadcast. A nice buffet lined up for us as Brainerd also knocks off Wilmer by a score of 21-7.
Yeah, you'll have a great time over there at Hoo-Hot over in Fargo. Other area scores here. Ada Burrup takes down Wabud by a score of 40-20. Got to mention this score because I know my buddy's listening. NCEUH, I don't know who that is, but that seems like a lot of letters there. Defeats Norman County West by a score of 36-0. St. Cloud Tech once again 35-7 over Grand Rapids. Moose Lake Willow River holds on in a thriller over Esco 8-6.
And in that one, Esco scored first on a 20-yard run by Brant Hinsilla. Then Ike Peterson got a 6-yard pass from Brad Fossum. The difference, 2-point conversion. Josh Peterson makes it 8-6. And both teams scored in the first quarter, shut out the rest of the way. That game was played in Proctor as the new turf has not been finished yet in Esco.
Hill City over Renshaw by a score of 30-7. It was Onamia over McGregor 46-16. Barnum blanks East Central 28-0. Duluth Denfeld finding out that the Mississippi 8 Conference isn't the easiest to play in. 41-18, they lose to Chisago Lakes area. Hibbing over Crosby Ironton 30-20. Hermantown blanks Proctor 22-0.
A hammer for the third straight year will stay in Hermantown. Second consecutive shutout for the Hawks over the rails.
It was Cloquet big over I Falls 46-12 in your alma mater over there, Jason. And it was Two Harbors over Eveleth Gilbert 52-25. Greenway Nashua Keewatin wins big over Virginia 44-8. Chisholm over Big Fork 51-14. Duluth Marshall 25-14 over Ogilvie. Once again, Deer River over Mesabi East 20-6. Ely over Little Fork Big Falls 55-14. North Home Kellier shuts out Isle 32-0. And let's go to the next page here. I'm reading these on the fly. Floodwood starts out 2-0, 48-6 over Northland. Red Lake County loses to Mahnomen by a score of 42-14. It was Bagley over Black Duck, 19-12. Southridge over Cherry, 48-8. Northwoods over Silver Bay, 48-21. And Bemidji starts out 2-0 as well. It's 45-22 over Sauk Rapids Rice.
They started out really slow in their game against Sauk Rapids Rice. So I was following that game during the Grand Rapids game on Twitter just to take a look at that Central Lake, see some of the opponents right there. And they started out slow, but they got things going. They just got a solid crew. James Hendricks at quarterback as well. Tanner Bowes in the backfield. Jalen Ingalls on the outside. They got a solid team. And another game I wouldn't mind touching on a little bit. Greenway Nashua Keewatin, a nice victory over Virginia. They're really a young team coming along well. That's a nice victory because now they got a very tough stretch coming up for them. They have 4 tough games. They got Cloquet, Hermantown, Moose Lake, Willow River, and I believe Proctor's in that mix as well. I don't remember the exact order of that one. So that's going to be a tough stretch for Greenway Nashua Keewatin, which is a very young team. And we saw it when they played Deer River. If they eliminate those mistakes, they could be on their way.
Well, and that's just it. And over this 4-game stretch, if they can get out of it 3-1, 2-2, they'll be great. I mean, that's a really tough stretch, especially that we got to mention the Cloquet game because Cloquet is starting out with guns a-blazing this year.
Well, yeah, they really loaded up that schedule too, and they opened things up with the rival Esco and now International Falls. I know that's part of the conference that they're in, but a lot of people are talking about that. It's kind of interesting. You see some of these teams in that Section 7 4A, and they're playing that C-Range conference, which is a great conference for the 2 and 3A schools. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But when you're playing up in the 4A for the playoffs, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that topic of conversation came up again last night, of course, with the Grand Rapids crew, and that's just it. Is that you got the C-Range conference where Grand Rapids wanted to go, but powers that be forced them into another conference, and that's where they are. So there's not much you can do about that at that point in time. You just got to go out and play your schedule.
Well, I don't know if you saw the recent thing that has recently come out from the State High School League that they're discussing and debating is what they're thinking about doing for scheduling for football is the pod schedule now of 16 teams in an area. And you pick and choose kind of what teams you're going to play, and that's out of those 16 teams to make your schedule. So it'd be interesting to see what they elect to come up with. I know they're discussing that. That seems to be right around the corner in a couple of years.
Yeah, they're talking about 2015 to start that. And it'd be a great thing for Grand Rapids and some of these teams in the area. I mean, I'd like to see that rivalry renewed and rekindled between Grand Rapids and Greenway, Nashua, Keewatin, as well as playing Hibbing. I mean, that's a team that they've played for years that they don't have the opportunity to play anymore. And it would be great to see them play teams like Cloquet and Hermantown, Section 7 rivals.
Well, there was that one a couple of years ago that was an exciting game between Deer River and Grand Rapids. It was a close game, and it was a hard-hitting game, I remember. And Deer River just brought some power and laid the wood. And it was one of those games, but Grand Rapids was able to pull it out.
Well, and we were talking about that last night before the Deer River game. Some of the teams that Deer River had over the course of the year, especially in the 80s and 90s, they had some really tough teams, some really great teams that Coach Ott over there took to the state tournament and in that old Class B. And it was great to see a lot of that great football being played over there in Deer River. A lot of history, a lot of tradition. 89 years of football over in Deer River, and they're really proud of their Warriors.
Well, they have definitely a good reason to be in. They got a young team that's off to a quick start, 2-0. The two quarterback system really kind of working right now with Colton Hines and Aaron Drotz. You always hear a lot of debate about a two quarterback system, but right now it's starting to work.
Well, and that's just it, is that both quarterbacks offer a dimension to the game that is useful. Colton Hines has been very solid back there. He's done a great job, in both passing and just running the offense in general. And then on the other side, Aaron Drotz he's an athletic kid. He can run the ball, and he can throw it a long ways. I mean, that 75-yard touchdown run was Ben Eby caught it in stride, and it had to have been 40 yards in the air.
And that's a good thing to see, especially for Deer River. You look at G&K, they got that tough schedule coming up for them. They're in a tough 7-3A section, and we see one of the teams in there, Aiken, off to a 1-1 start, but they pounded Virginia. And Bram is always a tough team, so that's going to be a battle. And that was a very close game.
Yeah, Bram is there. There's another program that's storied in tradition with football. So I mean, they're no slouch. So Aiken losing to them, it's a toss up between those two teams.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see it throughout. Now, also, we'll take for this quick minute looking at the volleyball schedule again. Ray Tomlin Anderson will be in just shortly after 7:30. We look forward to talking to her. An exciting week coming up. Grand Rapids has some big games today. They're down in Coon Rapids playing in a big tournament, so we'll really get to see where they're at against some other tougher schools in that Coon Rapids tournament.
Yeah, that'll be a great tournament for them. We tried to get Coach Fidelai on the show today, but obviously with him being down in Coon Rapids, he can't do that. So it'd be great to see Grand Rapids come out of that and see what they can do.
Should be exciting again. Greenway head coach Ray Tomlin Anderson will be coming in here just shortly. Just an exciting week for Greenway. You have the Titan Invitational, a huge crowd at Eagle Ridge. They follow it up with just an outstanding and exciting atmosphere at the Karen Tomberlin Gymnasium. Can't wait to talk to Ray about that atmosphere the week ahead, the week behind, as it was an exciting week over on that side of the range at Coleraine. Is just a great time for the Raiders. We'll take a quick time out. You're listening to The Sports Issue right here on 1320 KLZY.
Hi, I'm Tim Boss, the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks head football coach, and you are listening to The Sports Issue with Jason and Toivo on 1320 KLZY.
Hello and welcome back to The Sports Issue. Here we're now joined by Greenway volleyball head coach Ray Tomlin Anderson, as well as Captain Summer McDonald and Katrina Kylander. First of all, welcome to the studios.
Thank you for having us.
Well, a very exciting night, Thursday night. First, we'll start with you, Ray. Just an exciting atmosphere against Hibbing, picking up a nice 3-0 victory.
It was exciting. I mean, we always have the best fans around, and always have, and it just to have that atmosphere and have Hannah Johnson come from being a Greenway athlete and star to being the coach in Hibbing. It was exciting for everybody, and I think a good 3-game match. All 3 games were close.
Well, Summer and Katrina, first question for you guys. Just talk about playing in that atmosphere in front of the fans that you guys had.
Well, playing in front of the fans gets us going a lot, and just everybody out there, and playing against Hibbing has always been fun for me. Me and Trina have been playing, our freshman year we beat them for the first time in 22 years, was it, Coach? 23. Yeah, and it's just always been fun playing them, and the atmosphere just gets us going even more.
It's good to know that no matter who we're playing, the fans are always there to support us.
And Greenway and Hibbing always been that big rivalry. Like you said, a 23-year stretch, you guys are able to kind of now turn things to your favor here of late. And just talk about kind of how that feeling has been, because, I mean, a big win against Hibbing right there.
It's been a great feeling. They've always been a huge competition, like Summer was saying, for us. Always fun to play and always close games. So for us to finally come out on top is just really great.
It was 3 exciting games that went down to the wire, and momentum always plays a big key in that volleyball, and it seemed like you guys were able to take the momentum over late in those games.
We did. Overall, I think we had maybe too many errors, but it's tough, to get these kids to do rally score. I mean, you make an error, the other team gets a point, and we teach them to be aggressive, serve aggressively, hit aggressively, and so that's something we need to continue to work on, is to be more, error-free when we need to. But when it came down to it, each game we pulled it out and stayed strong at the end.
Well, we talked about earlier in the season, you have several players now moving on to play at the junior college level, and you have a lot coming back. Talk about the dynamic there, a little bit of the players coming back and the roles that you guys have put on.
Well, at the beginning, none of us really knew what to expect, being we lost 6 seniors, 6 very good seniors with big shoes to fill. And we started off a little rough, but we've been working together, working at practice every day, and it really helps when you have a group of girls that come to practice and really just give it their all to become better.
Well, I know, Summer, for you, it's been a very interesting year, especially coming off that knee injury. And you talk a little about the rehab that you had to do and the process of getting back on the floor.
It was a really rough winter, but I'm really glad I'm back to be with my team. And I missed playing with the seniors last year, but this year I feel like we're clicking really good. Like Trina said, it was a rough start for us, but now we're back on track and we're just going to go from there.
Now you guys are getting ready for a very unique stretch here. Hermantown Monday night, then you got another one at Deer River, and then, of course, Grand Rapids at home after that.
And we have a tournament on Saturday,
that's right.
too.
It's a home tournament.
I was going to touch on that as well. Talk about being able to host a tournament like that and getting ready for that.
It's exciting. Back in the 80s and 90s, my mother had a very successful tournament at Greenway, and so we wanted to bring that back. And we're starting out small, not a lot of teams this year, but we already have commitments for the next few years for more strong teams. So we're excited to be hosting it.
And just talking about the week, you got, like you said, you Hermantown Monday night, then you got Deer River, then that tournament, kind of a tough stretch, and of course the one Grand Rapids after that, which is always an exciting game, especially inside your barn where the atmosphere is second to none.
Rapids is going to be a huge game. We need a lot of fans there. It's going to be really exciting. And they've always been really tough competition. And I know last year that's the game I got hurt, and that's the game I just want to give it my all. And I've been waiting for this game since last year.
Well, you guys are in a very exciting section looking at things and your tough schedule. How do you think that will prepare you guys and get you ready for the postseason? I know it's a ways away, but looking down the line.
Well, I think playing these tough teams is going to prepare us more because it'll give us more competition. It'll make us work harder and really work as a team.
And Rand, if you talk a little bit about some of the teams that are in the field on Saturday, what fans can expect to see, and what time those things will start, or just what time the event will start on Saturday, if you
Okay,
remember.
9 o'clock, our first match, and we'll have games in both gyms all day long, and I believe the finals is set for 2 p.m.
Well, now, senior year for you guys. Talk about kind of the emotions going through that as your final year in the Greenway Green.
Oh, well, knowing that season's so short, it's really scary because I love volleyball, and to think that it's going to be over is just heartbreaking because I hope to go on and play farther, but I'm going to miss my team and coach or whatever because I've been with them so long. It's going to be a big change.
You guys, I know I've talked about with you earlier in the year, you guys are installing a new offense and a little faster offense. How's that been going?
Great. We had a new libero in position here and also a new setter, so we have some strong hitters and we want to be able to use them and really, use our strengths as on offense. So that's what we're working on.
You mentioned the strong hitters. You got you guys as well. Siri Geiser and Kate Cook also play a big role. Just talk about the role of your teammate. It seems like it's any player that can step up on any given night for your team.
Well, every night all of our hitters are at full strength, and it's just good to know that we have so many options to go to, and if we can just get our setter to set every single one of them, we could just be a powerhouse in the front row, and it's really nice.
And we have a very powerful bench, too.
How nice is to have that depth, especially for you as a coach with that situation there?
Oh, it's amazing, and we've had that for 2 or 3 years now, and you don't always get that at a small school, so it is exciting, and just the positive attitude from everybody, and everybody putting themselves second, team first, has really been enjoyable to coach.
And now, you got to talk a little bit about the emotions for you as a head coach going against one of your former players and Hannah Johnson at Hibbing. Just talk a little bit about how that was, and also for the players, because I know you're very familiar working with her at UMD.
Right. You know, Hannah comes back every summer and works with our girls, and in fact, she runs our hitting session during our team camp, and so it's awesome to have her. You know, of course, I would have loved to have her on the Greenway staff, but I knew she would excel as a coach, so it's exciting.
And now, as players going against her, what was that feeling like going in? Was there any extra nerves? I know there's always that added bonus when you're playing Hibbing.
Well, it was really weird because I know I worked with her a lot this summer, especially because she had some knee problems in college too, and she just would help out, and like she was teaching us different ways to hit. And when she came in, it was just she knew all of our weaknesses and all of our strengths, and it was just weird going against her because she knew what we were gonna do.
And now, like you said, that stretch, knowing what you're going to do, what was that like trying to adjust and make those type of adjustments first for you as a coach and also you as the players? And making those type of adjustments, going against someone that perhaps already knew your program very well, as Hannah did.
Right. But at the same time, it goes back to basics, passing and serving. And I think we knew we had to serve and pass aggressively and consistently, you know, to run our offense.
Well, you're getting ready, like you said, it's been a fun season so far. I know it's early as you get ready to go for this week. You talk a little about the stretch, or like a normal week for, say, the Greenway volleyball team, week of practice. You talk a little bit about that and kind of a behind-the-scenes look for on the Raiders.
Well, we're going to play really hard Monday and Tuesday because Monday obviously is a really big game, and then we'll go hard at practice the rest of the week for that tournament and then be rested up for Monday because, of course, Monday against Rapids is going to be a huge game for us.
We also have on the September 14th, we are going to the cities for
20th.
the September 20th. I'm sorry. We are going to the cities for a very big tournament, 7AA or Section AA showcase, where we will see teams from all over the state.
And a very tough schedule once again for you guys. Talk about how that helps you guys down the road. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you're playing those teams, like you said, in that showcase, and you get to see some of the top teams in the state as well as you guys up there in that mix.
Right. We feel it'll prepare us best for section time or tournament time.
And Hermantown, I know, got a nice history with them. You had a nice battle at your house last year. What do you expect to see from them on Monday night?
Well, you know, they have a setter back, and she's very strong. She moves the ball well. But as far as their hitters, I feel we're probably stronger. So, you know, again, passing and setting and playing our game, it should be a great match.
And off to a quick start. Talk about that. 3-0 right now, how the first three games went.
They felt really good to get back into it and just go 3-0 in all of them, all three sets. And just I hope to keep it up because it's really a good feeling.
Especially with a new team, you never know really what to expect at first, so it's good that we just came out there and gave it what we had.
You mentioned in practice it was kind of a slow start for you guys of getting used to things. What kind of seemed to be the moment where it seemed like things starting to really definitely come together?
We worked all winter together for the JO season, and so at the beginning of that, it was none of us really knew what to expect because a lot of us hadn't played together before. But not long after we started clicking and everything started working together.
Now, your roles as captains, talk a little about that, how it's like to kind of be the leaders of the team right there as captains and taking on that role.
Well, our team is really cooperative, so they listen, and when we say something, they respect us, and that's really good. And every single one of them, I feel like, looks up to us and listens to Coach really good, too, and that's really nice.
You mentioned that camaraderie definitely plays a big role. You can see it on the floor. You touched a little bit about that as a coach and how nice it is to have a close-knit group that works so well.
It is, and you know, each and every play, there isn't anybody looking to see who's going to get the credit or who's going to get the set, and it's exciting to see. Kudos to these two for being excellent leaders.
And as players, I got to ask you, the atmosphere on Thursday, how exciting is that to play in front of a gym packed as it was and loud, especially in this small, compact gym as the Karen Tomlin Gymnasium is?
It's so exciting. Our fans have always been amazing, and just for them to come out for every game and just be as loud as they can and support us all is amazing.
Now looking at the week ahead, what are some things you mentioned? Hermantown, what do you expect to see from Deer River?
Deer River is strong. We saw them at the Jamboree, and they have a great program. Connie does a great job. So, of course, we know coming in we have to be at top of our game.
Northern Lakes Conference, also a fun one. A lot of good area schools you get to see in that one. With the Nashua, Kiwan, and Deer River, what do you expect? And Northern, what do you expect to see from those type of teams?
We're not in the Northern Lakes Conference
I
anymore.
apologize about that. I know you guys got the IRC tournament coming up where you're defending Iron Range champs, and how nice is that to have that target?
We are, and they changed the format of the IRC tournament this year as well, so it'll be a new change, but hoping to be the conference champs again.
It was a fun run last year. We thank you guys for coming in. It's been great having you. We wish you the best of luck as you guys go on to the rest of the season. Good luck Monday night. Also, good luck against Grand Rapids. We thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Sports Issue, thank you for stopping by, Ray Tomlin Anderson, as well as Summer McDonald and Katrina Kylander right here on 1320 KOZY and KOZYradio.com. Well, welcome back to the Sports Issue here at the KOZY studios. I'd like to thank once again Greenway head coach Ray Tomlin Anderson, as well as captains Katrina Kylander and Summer McDonald for stopping by. Great job by them. As they talked about the Greenway volleyball season, it's starting definitely to ramp up. They're off to a quick start. They had that nice 3-0 victory over Hibbing. As they said, they've won all 3 games so far by scores of 3-0. They're looking forward to a very busy week. It was Hermantown on Monday, Deer River later in the week, and then they're hosting that own tournament starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday. That's going to be a fun one at the Karen Tomlin Gymnasium as well.
Yeah, gotta say thank you for coming into the studio. They did a great job on the air. They were a little nervous about being on live air, but we put them right on the spot right away. But they did a good job, and they've got some big matches coming up, and wish them luck here in the near future.
It should be an exciting run, and hopefully we get a chance. We'll try to get Brian Fiddledine hoping next week. It sounds like we're trying to see if we can. We're working on lining that up. Make sure, if you want, to follow us on Twitter as well. At KOZY Sports is my name on Twitter, and we had a few tweets during that interview.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. You can follow me at Toivo22. That's Toivo 22. So if you guys want to, get scoring updates and stuff like that throughout the week, we do. Both of us do post that and are back and forth, and we're still trying to get the hashtag the issue, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
We're going to have to work on that. I think we might have to do a little publicity campaign and start pushing that. Well, I think now let's change a little bit directions with the NFL. We got a quick opportunity here. We can make some quick picks, I think.
I think that would be great.
Well, everyone had Denver, I think, beating Baltimore. That was a no-doubter, 49-27. Denver wins that one. Baltimore is kind of reloading after the Super Bowl run last year. We'll go through a couple of the games quicker, a little faster than others, and then hit on the big one, the big pair that we'll always be talking about. New England at Buffalo. I think Tom Brady and the Patriots are going to pull that one off. Buffalo starting a rookie quarterback is always tough.
Yeah, I just, Buffalo is, every once in a while they can be the surpriser, but not this time. Tom Brady wins.
Miami at Cleveland should be an interesting one. Ryan Tannehill getting the start against Brandon Whedon in Cleveland.
I am going to go with Cleveland on that one.
I'm a differ. I got the Dolphins with Tannehill, of course, and Mike Wallace on the outside. Should be an exciting one.
You're just doing that for merit.
Well, I kind of drove the stake in the knife last night by mentioning Reggie Bush many times. Also, Atlanta at New Orleans. That's going to be a thriller. Sean Payton back at New Orleans.
I think that I got to go with Atlanta. Matty Ice is just going to be too much for that New Orleans defense. I think they're kind of rebuilding now after having all the coaches, suspended and banned for life and everything else. Sean Payton's back, so I think it's going to be Atlanta.
I agree with you, but for different reasons. I like Matty Ice at quarterback, but I think it's their new addition in the backfield, Steven Jackson.
That could be as well. I mean, that's going to be a huge addition. Steven Jackson spending so many years in a Rams uniform, going nowhere, and now he has an opportunity to possibly win a Super Bowl.
Tampa Bay at the Jets. Tampa Bay all the way. Darrelle Revis is going to shut down the Jets, whoever they throw at quarterback. Geno Smith, he's been going the wrong way so far in preseason.
I agree with you once again, but I think Darrelle Revis is going to have a tough time that day. I think they're going to try to go after him a little bit. They want some redemption maybe on him, I guess. But I think he'll do well. Don't get me wrong. But and of course, the Jets, they have all sorts of quarterback issues and everything else. But I will go with the latter on that one.
But one good thing for the Jets is they finally retired Mark Sanchez, worst of the worst, on ESPN, so they'll be happy with that one. Oakland at Indianapolis. Andrew Luck, I think, will lead the Colts to a victory over an Oakland team that's starting Terrell Pryor.
We'll just say it is definitely not going to be Oakland on that one. It'll be Indianapolis, and I think it's going to be big. I say 20 points.
Tell you what, Matt Flynn's probably sitting there thinking to himself, what can I do to start? Seattle at Carolina, that's going to be a fun one. It's always tough when a West team goes to the East Coast. Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, I'm going with Seattle.
I am going with the Adam Schefter power-ranked number 1 Seattle Seahawks.
That should be a fun one there with that game. And also now we'll take a look, Kansas City at Jacksonville. That one could go either way.
Look, the battle of the Sisters of the Poor on that one, I'm going Kansas City.
I'll go Kansas City with you on that one as well. Another game to look at, Arizona at St. Louis. I think that's going to be a fun 2 upstart teams.
You know, that could be a good game. I am going to pick Arizona on that. I have a little heart wrenching with a couple of Minnesota guys there, so I'm going to go with Arizona.
Giants at Dallas should be a fun one. I'm going with the Giants. They just are too strong when it comes to playing in Dallas.
You know what? The ever so peak and valleys, Tony Romo is going to pull it together. I'm going Cowboys.
Philadelphia at Washington. I think RG3 comes back in a big way. I go with Washington.
I agree with you on that. Washington, RG3 will go for 100 and 200.
Houston at San Diego. I like Houston. Matt Schaub, Arian Foster, big weapons there. San Diego kind of rebuilding.
Yeah, Houston, no doubt.
We'll come back with the the NFC North Division games after this timeout on 1320 KOZY and KOZYRadio.com.